Good morning. Welcome to Breakfast Central. It's the Friday edition of Breakfast Central. One more Friday before July is a wrap. And by next week Friday, we'll be celebrating my co-host, the incredible Benga Bora. But for today, all through today's show, everybody must send me a happy birthday message. Happy birthday to me.
It's not your birthday.
It's my birthday.
Not today.
But my birthday is on a Sunday. I'll not be at work. Anyway, good morning and welcome to the show. For the next 3 hours, we're taking you around Nigeria, looking at some of the biggest stories in Nigeria's political landscape. We're also streaming live via News Central TV Live, where we take your comments, your contributions, and much later, when we review the papers, we open the phone lines to take your calls. My name is Olive MOD. I will now hand over to my colleague in July. Hello, Benga.
Hello, Olive. It's a fantastic month, and it's bittersweet that it's coming to an end. Our special month, and so many great things happen this month. If you notice, terrorism incidents reduced this month.
Yeah.
This was the month where they rescued the Orire kids. This was the month where petrol price came down, but it has gone up. But it will still come down again. I have hope in that. Thank God it's Friday. We're happy to be here. So many things to unpack on today's show. And I mean, I don't know if I'll be speaking on behalf of Joe, but there's a tinge of jealousy when we see Olive wear beautiful colors. She's radiant, and we're restricted to antebellum. You know, just corporate wear. Maybe we might switch things up in a few weeks' time, you know, go for bright colors. But Joe is very conservative. I think I would, maybe I want to experiment with a thing or two. But it's good to be here. Over to you, Joe. Would you take up our offer? This girl is oppressing us.
Yeah, I mean, welcome, Nigerians, and thank you so much for joining us. It's good to have you.
Wow, the serious unconditional.
The month of July is a month that we saw an increase in fuel price, like we've seen before. A month where we also saw budget padding of the highest order, where monies have been padded under the Ministry of Agriculture. The same month of July has also seen the arrest of an embattled prince.
Joe,
so people don't commit crimes in other months.
Joe, you would like to calm down.
Excuse me, I'm just. Can I talk?
Joe, I know
did I say anything?
What
Go ahead, please. Reel it out.
You would like to calm down.
World War II started.
Well, also the month saw Lionel Messi and his guys play football like they were bandits. The same month with this. Should I stop?
Spain won.
You started it, so I'm just trying to help you highlight some of the things you...
don't be a jealous person.
But then again, it's good to be back, guys. Hello, welcome to Breakfast Central. Let me take away my glasses. Ginger is back, so we're back and we're ready to roll. And by the way, let me mention, how you guys doing, by the way? How you doing, Olive?
I'm excited because it's my birthday weekend.
I would also, I want to take this note to appreciate the Lagos State government. It seems they're listening. On my drive home yesterday,
nice.
I saw them doing palliative works on the road. When I say palliative, don't think of Indomie. Just patchwork and covering up the potholes on this Latif Jakande road. So kudos to them for listening and doing something about it. That should be the standard. But I also have to say, I mean, it's heartbreaking. If you're familiar with the Oniru area, so the right turn to the Palace Road, 4 points by Sheraton, that spot.
As you're heading towards the toll gate,
yes,
that spot, it's horrible.
Roads?
Not just that.
The roads, the bend, everything.
The Olive doesn't apply that route. Olive, you always cut it off.
I mean, do you know this? Do you know the amount of tax
by the way?
they generate in that? That's the richest local government.
Okay, so are we talking of
in terms of VAT?
Yes, that turn. The turn just after Mobile.
Yes.
Oh,
it's terrible.
That's the Sandfield now.
Yes.
Oh, really?
It's terrible.
Okay, I'll take a look at it.
And I mean, you look at
drive down
Lagos. You look at the wealth of that area, the amount they probably generate from VAT, and for it to be in that condition, it says a lot. And there's also a palace. I'm sure the royal father, the Oba of Oniru, applies that route.
I mean, the area in which I wanted to congratulate Lagos State government is in terms of the waste management. I think, personally, I've seen an improvement.
Is your area...
Maybe.
My own compound, we've not seen the PSP operators
PSP
coming.
guys have come twice this week. And I'm just wondering what's happening. You know, we're seeing a lot of improvements in that.
It should be statewide.
Yeah, I hope that it spreads across statewide. But we'll head into the conversations. But first of all, can we ring the bell for YouTube, your audience? Benga, ring the bell.
Yeah, Benga, you're in charge of the bell.
Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much for the kind messages. No, I need to read this message. Benga and Joe.
I've already seen it, and I'm feeling
Happy
somehow.
birthday, Olive. I want to confess something.
This is strange.
Olive is the reason I tune into New Central, not just for our beauty, but for our intellect. I just saw the last part. Yes. Okay, let's get into the proper conversation.
Olive, we're here to protect you. We're here to protect you.
What was the last part?
You have seen the question there.
What was it? I didn't see any
You
question.
don't see the question Osas asked.
Osas, DM me if you want.
Okay, Osas,
Thank
not
you,
just
Mr.
for our beauty and intellect profession, is she single? Osas, you come here, can't find woman. That's why you wake up in the morning.
Can you try this on CNN?
Watch us, you know.
Exactly. Watch the content.
Watch content.
Don't watch
the
beauty.
delivery of the content. You understand?
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sas. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Thank you very much, Mokuye Chukwemeka. Let's get into the conversation.
Somebody has responded to Osas. Only Bara what did it say? Was Yoruba actually?
What's the meaning?
Okay, I thought it was Igbo.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
No, I don't understand this one.
Let me not just say
Let's move.
Let's go into the conversation.
Yeah.
Let's move.
We're not starting with really, I mean, this is not so great news, but it's reports of...
it's good news because lives were
no lives were lost. Exactly.
Yeah.
An Enugu Air Embraer E170 aircraft operating flight 4264 from Lagos to Benin skidded off the runway during landing. We could see also that the plane was carrying 63 passengers and 5 crew members. Thankfully, all occupants were safely evacuated with no fatalities reported. Now, the Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau, NSIB, has deployed its core team to the airport to determine what went wrong, with heavy rainfall and late touchdown suspected as contributing factors. This incident has temporarily disrupted light flight operations, with Enugu Air adjusting its schedules. This incident serves as a reminder of the importance of strict safety standards in Nigeria's growing aviation industry. I want to, first of all, say thank God.
Yeah.
This could have gone left.
Yes.
You know, whenever we hear with plane crashes or, you know, accidents involving flights, they have the worst impact. Flights are the safest, but with one terrible accident, more people could have been lost.
Chances of survival. I mean, it lost its landing gear came off. It's that serious.
And you know how serious this thing is. I went for an event that the NSIB conducted. I moderated.
I remember.
Exactly, earlier in the year. And when I heard some of these stories, like there's a mathematics and a physics to how the plane flies, how the tail should be. And when these accidents occur, you know, there's a lot of work that goes into trying to figure out what happened, you know, where the fault came from, and just hearing them detailing these stories. And then reminding me of some of the air crashes that have happened in our country and the very important persons that in fact, the lives, I would say, that we lost in the course of that. You know, so when I hear stories like this, I'm hoping that it doesn't happen again, but I would say, thank God.
And talking about the NSIB, that's the Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau, whose primary responsibility is to investigate incidents like this. It's quite unfortunate that a whole organization like that, the last tweet they had on was in 2024. This is 2026. And you're wondering what's going on. Why are we not getting real-time information? The airline concerned, Enugu Air, has released, they did put out a press release, we'll look into it. And many tongues are wagging because this is the second, I mean, Enugu Air is less than a year. And this is the second incident of, you know, involving one of their planes in less than a year. So it's, I mean, there's more to, people are tagging NCAA that please look into this. Is there more to this? Does it have to do with spare parts? Is it an operational issue? So we can't just say it's bad luck or the weather. That's why the NSIB is there. We need to get to the root of this, and thorough investigation needs to be done to avert this sort of situation from happening in the future.
Well, let's get to listen to and see what people are saying concerning this this one.
I survived plane crash today, so now so I for take by. Now so all these big dreams for take go. I feel say plane crash only for movie and maybe for social media videos. until I experience am today. Our plane crashed today, like we dey up, serious rain dey fall, serious rain. As I look in the mirror, all the mirrors don blow. I no even dey see outside. I come ask myself, how pilots take dey see? Na when e reach time to land, when we don reach our destination, pilots come dey find way to take land. Pilots no even dey see, like the windows blow. Pilots come dey rotate for up, dey find way. Dey rotate, dey find way. Na so e take lose control, come go enter bush. Na so our plane. See, people dey break head, dey break leg, guy. I witnessed plane crash today. The reason why our plane no catch fire na because the serious rain dey fall. Na so I for take buy. Na so this big dream for take go. Na so triple pin for take go.
You guys say you dey come like this, anything now. You dey come like this. Nobody, you understand? You say they don't. Now they checking now.
Wetin I see for here as I dey waka dey come this side, ma come say market. Na this side now dey say market. Now come dey hear wetin dey happen. Wetin dey happen? Now before you know, aeroplane come fall. People come begin dey come outside for house. Say I thank God no be under place now. For if you under place now, if for catch fire, many people for die. Yo.
If you didn't understand the magnitude of what happened, I hope that you saw the pictures and that let you know that it wasn't, regardless of how soft it's made to seem, look at the state of that plane. Benga did mention earlier that the landing gear was off. You could see the wheels. Trust News Central to be there to bring you the story. Even the walnut seller experienced it firsthand and was sharing. But Enugu Air has given a public statement. They say their valued passengers, Enugu Air wishes to inform the public that one of our aircraft operating into Benin experienced a runway incursion after landing today. We confirm that all passengers and crew have safely disembarked and there were no injuries or casualties. The aircraft has been secured and the relevant aviation authorities have been notified in line with established procedures. An assessment of the aircraft and the circumstances surrounding the occurrence is currently on the way. As a result, there may be temporary adjustments to some flight schedules. Passengers affected by any changes will be contacted directly and provided with the necessary assistance. The safety of our passengers, crew, and operations remains our highest priority. We appreciate your understanding and will continue to provide updates through our official communication channels. Sounds very soft and sweet, but the eyewitness account that we heard, that guy should be a storyteller, very dramatic.
Okay, this gentleman.
This gentleman. But yeah, we thank God it didn't end there. But let's hear what Nigerians are saying. We're streaming live on YouTube. Please head to YouTube, News Central TV Live, drop your comments there regarding this. I mean, just to add that when Enugu Air launched last year, there was excitement. It was excitement that another transport service, another aviation transport service, or maybe a major aviation transport service bridging the gap from Lagos to Southeast Nigeria. So there was a lot of applause for the governor, for the state, saying, they were making a lot of progress. So the question is, if they only just got into business, how are we experiencing this? Is it speaking to the quality of the planes? Also, are we also going to be afraid that whenever it rains, there's a risk of the planes not being able to land properly, of the grip, of it skidding off the runway because maybe the runway doesn't have sufficient drainage systems or sufficient drainage methods? And these are some of the concerns that we've had and we've heard Nigerians express. But let's take your comments directly from YouTube. And then we'll head to X. No, actually, let's start with X, and then we'll come back to YouTube to take comments. What Nigerians are saying on X. If we have the tweets, can we please share the tweets? Thank you.
All right, let's take a look at this. MBB says, credit to the pilot for landing in such an environment between no way I'm entering such plane. Looks second and way too old for flight operations. Nigerian government are...
Now, wow.
and don't value the lives of their citizens. Okay. Tony says the pilot is clearly an experienced pilot. He didn't lose guard even when the tension and even with the tension, and still carried out a safe landing. Respect to him. Yeah, I mean, we must give kudos to that pilot as well. The plane looks old to me, like a third-hand plane that's supposed to be retired. Did they retire a plane?
Yeah, they do.
Yes.
If it's too old.
No, that's what he's saying.
Yeah, but just from, I mean, it's skidded into a muddy area. Do you expect it to look pristine? And that's not, you can't judge the look of the age of a plane just by visually looking at it, yeah.
Anyway, another one says, boarding any state or federal-owned airline in a country like Nigeria is you risking your life. Thank God no life was lost. Enugu Air licenses should be terminated indefinitely.
So I don't know that termination is what we will jump to yet, right? I would say that NSIB, let's allow the Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau to do their job, investigate as to what led to that, what could have been done differently, because it is meeting a need. I can't also deny the fact that there are people who have concerns about the quality of our flights. I can say this on authority. Gentlemen, I spoke with someone who works with an airline, and I don't want to mention the airline. And this airline, they fly from Lagos to, you know, okay, if I give the
different parts of
they fly from Lagos to different parts of the world. Thank you. But he, as a staff, as a foreign national, if he needs to go from Lagos to Abuja, the airline mandates that he first flies out with their airline to another country, then flies from that other country to Abuja, as opposed to go from Lagos to Abuja. Why? Because they don't want them to take domestic flights, because there's a fear about what will happen, because they're bringing expatriates to work in Nigeria. The day he said it to me, I was a bit worried and concerned, because I'd never heard of that.
Kudos to Nigeria, and maybe there's an element of luck to it. And the guys at NCAA, at the other stakeholders are doing a good job, because if you recall, on the late President Obasanjo, and when Fani Kaude was aviation minister, he even said it on record that maybe some of this plane crashes are spiritual, and many people found it ridiculous because of the high incidence of plane crashes we're witnessing. We've been having incidents like this, you know, overrunning the runway, overshooting the runway, skids, but not a major incident, and long may it remain like that. So it goes a long way to show safety and aviation record. And we have Nigerian airlines that also fly international. The European agencies will not allow Nigerian carriers, if they don't meet certain standards and requirements. So I wouldn't say that Nigerian airlines are not safe, but
I mean, I wouldn't say that as well.
So
I only shared that experience.
But the NSIB, yes, but the NSIB does need to look into this matter, especially Enugu Air. For an airline that is less than a year to have had 2 incidents, similar incidents, leaves a lot of questions.
Have any of you had any plane incidents before?
No, thank God. Just maybe turbulence, yes.
Well, twice. Once was a very terrible turbulence, and the second time, the plane was about to land in Asaba, and it went back into the air and kept hovering for like another 30 minutes. I mean, the prayer, a lot of us were praying. It wasn't turbulent, but it was foggy, so the pilot
had to abort.
And then you start praying, because what is supposed to be like a 45-minute flight is now getting to, you know, well over 1 hour 30. But let's take comments from YouTube as well. On YouTube, we can see comments from Michael Zeus says, is the Enugu Air airworthy? I see what he's doing there, you know, because of road safetyness, you know, airworthiness. He said this aircraft was barely showcased months ago, and now it almost took 68 lives. Serious questions should be asked about the Tokumbo aircraft flying Nigerian skies. Mokunye Chukwuemeka says, thank God that plane didn't crash. Enugu Air needs to check their aircraft. Michael Zu says, if not for the rain and muddy ground, this aircraft may have gone up in flames. Not even a single fire truck around the aircraft, if not for the wet, muddy surface. Mr. Johnson says, Omo, what's happening to our aircraft or pilots? Just weeks ago, one of the planes was tired of flying and wants to join the vehicles on the road. It's crazy. Can you hear, Guy? What happened to the weather forecast? And we talk more now. They remind us that there are plane crashes too in America. This is unprofessional, which could have cost people their lives. And then Michael Obieku says, may God continue to protect everyone from any form of mishap. Amen. Felix Okechukwu says, but which kind of country be this safe? Enugu to Benin with flights. After Asaba, no Benin, a travel speed train can do on the minutes. What a travel speed train can do on the minutes, I have to fly through air. For what? I beg you. Felix Okechukwu, the reason why people will fly rather than take the roads or, take any train is for obvious reasons. Insecurity,
And also, speed.
There's speed, but also there is insecurity. A number of people have gotten to a point in Nigeria where they say, if a plane cannot take me there, I'll sit down in my house, no matter what the occasion is. Right? A number of us have had conversations where you have family members that would typically ply the route. I mean, there are many nice, comfortable buses that can take you from the southwest to the south-south or southwest to the southeast. But because of insecurity, people will just say, and if you leave around like 6 a.m. in the morning, by 12, you should be there. It's a nice road trip, comfortable cars. But people are afraid for their lives. Mr. Anthony says, Omonawa, this Enugu Air that came on board not long ago, who won't check the workability of these planes before purchase? Nigeria is just becoming a dumping site for aircraft and vehicle. All right, we'll take...
But let me just give you some details on the plane, the age and some other things, that information that might be relevant for our viewers. The Enugu Air, it's an Embraer aircraft, Embraer E170. Embraer is a Brazilian aircraft manufacturing company. The registration number is 5NENR, and the age is approximately 17.4 years old. The manufacturing serial number is there. And in aviation terms, a 17-year-old plane is still relatively young. I mean, if you...
a teenager.
Yeah, in aviation terms. And production was tracked back to mid-2008, I believe. Operated for Enugu Air via its partnership set up with XEJet. And the current status is secured on site pending full safety assessment by the Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau. And they have launched a formal probe with a preliminary report expected within 30 days. Aviation databases currently list the airframe status under review and potential write-off following the excursion into the bush.
Right. Anyway.
Well, it's good to note. And first off, we must say we thank God that no lives were lost. And I think that's a good way to start on that. But let's move on down to our next story. Nigerians and several political groups are indeed demanding full transparency and the publication of a signed copy of a letter reportedly sent by the United States President Donald Trump to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Earlier this week, the presidency, through its spokesman, Bayo Onanuga, released excerpts of the July 6, 2026 letter. In those excerpts, President Trump is said to have lauded President Tinubu's leadership against terrorism, praised his resolve in protecting vulnerable communities, particularly Christian groups facing violence, and acknowledged the deployment of U.S. Special Operations Forces to assist Nigerian troops. However, critics are challenging the government to go beyond text graphics like the one you see on the screen there and release a full original signed document, complete with official letterhead, not of this one from the Nigerian presidency, but the one from the United States president, and also his signature at the end to prove the authenticity of the letter. This ordinarily will not make it to wake-up conversations, but the reason why it's made it here is because it is one of the top 3 stories on social media, especially regarding Nigeria's news and current affairs. The picture you see there on the screen there, the letter, is the one the United States president from the White House sent to the president of Argentine Republic. It's a clear indication to show that when President Donald Trump sends a letter, this is his format. And he has his signature, which, I mean, I don't know if we still have that video. He doesn't play with his signature. He takes his time to sign it. He's one of the presidents in the world where people have said his signature means a lot to him because he's so pristine and always happy to take his time to put it there on the paper. This is just one sample. And Nigerians are saying, by the way, The special advisor to the president did take it to Twitter. And then you also had the special advisor went on other television stations and was celebrating and saying, yes, it seemed much more like a victory than what Spanish team won at the World Cup. So this seemed much more like a World Cup to prove to Nigerians
what's the big deal? Are you more concerned about getting feedback from the U.S. president or your people?
Do you get?
The people that elected you into office?
So it seemed that way. And while I also stumbled on that story fortnight, I thought to myself, okay, it's all well and good. President Trump acknowledges. But the question is, what's the way forward? And I expected to hear more. But I didn't also take note of the fact that, oh, wait, the letter wasn't published. It was just mere excerpts that was copied and put on what you see here on screen. And then look at how it ended. State House. Digital.
So this one is a report, right? This is not really like the letter per se. So U.S.-Nigeria related. So they are basically highlighting into.
This is it. This is the one.
So this is the
full
one.
Text. And it's termed full text of President Trump's letter.
Now the question is, where was this letter published?
So that's the question I'm just asking. Where is the letter?
So Donald Trump, the official White House's accounts, was this letter publicly published? Again,
was it on Truth Social?
Yeah, was it on Truth Social? So
they scanned
has there been
Social
any independent
and no one could find anything?
So far, no, we haven't seen any
Truth
independent
Social.
White House confirmation.
But the only thing, and I mean, it doesn't make it 100% foolproof, is that Reuters news agency did put up a report saying that, you know, the U.S. president wrote a letter and congratulated the U.S. president.
They didn't mention their source.
They didn't mention any source. So even though it's Reuters, they still didn't put any source or show the letter in its original form.
Permit me not to sound like what's it called, an antagonist here, but I think it's also good.
They're legitimate.
Try as much as possible to be circumspect with issues. I did see fellow journalists, whom I respect so much, run around with this story. And I think we live in an age where, before we even start to celebrate stories, we've talked about it here many times, in as much as we've confirmed the source, and it comes from even a credible source, we live in an age where we now even have to go beyond the credible source to also confirm. But then again, I want to use it to beg, this medium to beg Nigerians, please don't blame the journalists so much, because the people we look up to that have passed this information are the SSAs.
Exactly.
You would
And like Olive will say, based on previous character evidence, they've had to reverse things they have said in the past
before,
that
and
was not true.
SSAs, coincidentally, are equally seasoned journalists at some point in their life up until now. Because once a journalist is always a journalist, if you leave the position of an SSA, you either choose to go back to journalism or writing. Depends on how you want to do it. And this story came up, like I said, and the papers carried it yesterday. It was all over the papers. Reuters, on the other hand, it could also be a PR to give in to Reuters and say, hey, listen, this is a story. It comes from the presidency. This is it. And guess what? Yes, there are charges to it. Oh, yeah, this is our fee. No problem. We're going to pay the fee. Allegedly, it may have been that way. So what do you want us to do? The thing
is, just to add to what you've said, it's not like we're trying to be rumor mongers or speculators.
No, we're just
asking. Like Gbenga had said earlier, why Frank would ask for the verification of this is for certain reasons. One, this letter was dated 6th of July, released weeks later. There hasn't been any public official confirmation of it coming from the White House presidency other than Bayo Adenuga. And because they have seen situations where he had to recant certain things, he puts out something and then later you realize it was false or it was a mistake and they have to backtrack on what they had said. Jumping on, I mean, even from serious things to little things like replying or seemingly on serious things like saying that, you know, a social media personality should be arrested because he made statements that were apparently AI generated without having done his due diligence. So there's been a lot of that. But why this makes the news is because the fight against insecurity is still an ongoing one. And because of this role that the U.S. has, quote unquote, played in this fight, starting from last year, when they allegedly bombed, you know, a terrorist hideout in Nigeria during the festivities. So it's the concern that, are you also bothered about the approval of external forces much more than you are about the Nigerian citizens who you have sworn to serve. It's the same way that they had allegedly paid a US PR firm to clean up their image and to rewrite the story about, insecurity, saying, no, there's no Nigerian genocide. It felt like that they were more particularly concerned about protecting our image as opposed to solving the real situation. There are real life implications to the fight against insecurity. There are real people. Like two of you, I read a document, an article, or a story yesterday on Instagram by one of these new Elaska Mark. It's a
I know the publication. Yeah.
And if you watch, it was a slide about two friends, Mohammed and his friend. One of the friends had been kidnapped. The kidnappers demanded 50 million. His friend did everything within his power to negotiate, reduce the money to, I think, 10 million, raised funds for his family. His family could only raise 4 million. This sort of sourcing around, got the money. Okay, who will take the money to the terrorists? Yeah, it's his best friend. He will take the money. He took the money there. Guess what? His best friend was released. He was detained. He was detained for 2 months. And these kidnappers were threatening to kill him. They even put a video of the kidnappers flogging this guy, flogging him. And at some point, the police tried to intervene. The police, without their cooperation, like this family didn't reach out to the police. The police on their own tried to foil their attacks. And then the kidnappers got angry and said, oh, you people are giving information to the police, and started killing them one by one. Wow. They had collected 10 million for his friend. And they were at the point of killing him when someone said, we have already collected 10 million from him. Let's just ask the family, whatever they have to add, they should add and we'll release. So they asked, what do you have? Then this time around, it was him, his mother, his father, all of them went to the kidnappers den because they were like, if this boy does not come out, they were ready. His father was ready to give his life. That's the kind of reality that we are.
So sad.
That we have. That people are trading kidnap stories.
It's almost like slave trade, human beings have become cargo.
General markets. That's what we're doing with our lives.
Sad.
So it has real life.
So when you now take a purported letter, because it's a purported letter at this point, we've not verified from the other end, and you are almost worshipping it, when you haven't done your homework, it's an insult to Nigerians because you are more answerable to Nigerians than the United States president. Why are you showing us? The reality is different. You just told us a very harrowing story, and there are many people that have those kind of stories. It's not yet Uhuru. You haven't solved the security issues. So it's time wasting, and it will be unfortunate if this letter is found to be non-existent.
It's just important that we focus on our own issues and not be too bothered about external validation.
And majorly, the question now is, with that external validation that we are seeking for,
with a lot of money going into PR,
money spent.
Lobbying for the external validation.
Former Vice President Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is currently paying a PR company to ensure that they release documents of the current president's, past. That one is still undergoing a lot of conversations. The PR company is hitting back at the presidency as well. So there seems to be a back and forth. But I just want to end by saying, why all of this? Why want to look good?
Maybe because they feel
why try so much?
Let me also play devil's advocate. The perspective of how the West or how foreign nationals perceive us would be directly linked to how many people are willing to come and invest in Nigeria.
We've had former presidents.
To rewrite the story to say Nigeria
even
is
the man you're even trying to impress is not like he's of the best character in this world. He's threatening war crimes on TV every day.
To say drag Donald Trump.
He's not the best character to even try to impress in all of this. But
let me take a few comments. On YouTube, we can see here. Mr. Johnson says the verified account of United States of America just addressed the killings of that pastor in Port Harcourt or so. It is so glaring, not confusing. Everyone can see it, but it is only when it's related to our government that we'll need to put on our torchlight. It is well. Okay, I don't know about that. I'll need to double check and confirm that. Nathan Emmanuel says Trump is always loud and active on social media. It's surprising he never tweeted about it as usual. Yeah, typically he would share those things. Is why many are sort of raising eyebrows. All right. Michael Zu says, what Bayo Onanuga and Daniel Bwala cannot manufacture doesn't exist. I suspected the late release of this letter dated 6th July, just after Atiku lobbyists indicated sending documents to Trump. So you can see the perspective, number of Nigerians second-guessing the breach of trust. The trust deficit, of course, has come into play. Any further comments before we share?
No further comments.
All
No
right.
further comments. I mean, that's it. I don't know if we have what Nigerians are saying on this story, but I can tell that Nigerians are reacting very, very, very differently. Let's go on X very quickly and see what Nigerians are saying about this story. Bird Benson says, I asked the same question. Who else have seen this letter? And it's obvious. The letter should just be out there. You don't copy an excerpt of a letter.
Original form.
And then you put it in your own graphics. I've never seen, I mean, if there was a letter, Trump
strange.
would have published it on
Very
Truth
strange.
Social or X, just like he did the other ones. You can only imagine what people who did this in the past can do now. Post the letter. Trump cannot send a letter first week of July, and APC will be talking about it in the last week. It doesn't make sense.
Okay. Anyway, what makes
I don't know.
sense
I
for
want.
us today
Maybe this is
our
PR
top
gone
story.
wrong. Maybe. I think it's PR gone wrong. Maybe.
Well, we'll wait and see. But the thing is, these days, whenever I say let's wait for the federal government's response, it almost feels like
It doesn't come.
It doesn't come. They don't send anybody. You wait.
Continue to remind us. Letter, they must produce it.
Let's see what our top stories today are on Breakfast Central. Today on Breakfast Central, we will be analyzing the misappropriation in Nigeria's 2026 budget. The past 2 days, that's been a very important conversation with the work that BudgIT and Tracker is doing. INEC chair urges resolution of party crisis ahead of 2027 elections. State Police House passes amendment bill despite opposition boycott. Northeast backs Vice President Shatima renomination. So it will seem that the 2027 ticket is solidified. And the newspaper front pages will be, of course, a part of the show with our analysts joining us and with us opening the phone lines for you to call. Stay with us. Every budget tells a story about a government's priorities. It reveals not just how much it intends to spend, but what it considers important, who benefits, and ultimately, how public resources are distributed. But what happens when questions begin to emerge about whether those priorities align with the country's most pressing needs? Now, those questions are once again at the center of our national discourse following a series of findings by civic accountability organizations on Nigeria's 68.3 trillion naira 2026 Appropriation Act. In the past week alone, analysts have flagged 22.15 billion allocated for the construction and renovation of 106 traditional palaces. That's 106 of them. And we brought that update to you here. 808.05 billion naira for church and mosque projects, and fresh allocations involving the Nigerian Press Council and other federal agencies that critics say appear disconnected from their statutory responsibilities. At the heart of the debate is not simply how much is being spent, but whether the country's budget process has become vulnerable to questionable insertions, to weak oversight, and to poor alignment with national priorities. This morning, we examined the latest findings, the question that they raise about transparency and accountability, and whether Nigeria's budgeting process needs fundamental reform. Joining us now for this segment is BUDESHI Campaign Advocacy Lead Public and Private Development Center. It's a non-governmental organization. And from that organization, we have Elaska Mark. Good morning, Mark. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. It is a pleasure to have you as well. So over the years, we're not unfamiliar with the term budget padding. But in the past few days, it would seem that there's been a lot of uncovering. It's almost like there's a Pandora's box within our budget. So talk to us about what your team has uncovered in the 2026 budget and what immediately stood out for you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I think it's important to begin by saying that conversations about the national budget ultimately is conversation about people's life, right? And a budget is more than just a financial document. It tells us what the government really prioritizes in the budget. Now, and also we have seen how citizens have been asking questions regarding the recent findings that most civil society organizations have been discovering. Now, and then we have to know that when citizens ask questions about budget allocation, they are not opposing the government, first of all. They are just participating in democracy. And transparency and accountability strengthen public trust, right? And that's why conversations like this really matters. Now, at the center of what we do at PPDT with BUDESHI, first of all, BUDESHI is a civic tech tool for, basically what we do with BUDESHI is.
All right, it seems that we have a disconnection with the network. We hope that we can reconnect with Mark and hear, what his organization.
Hello, Mark. Are you there? Okay. We seem to be having connection issues with Mark. Hopefully, we can. Okay. I guess Mark is back. We'll just let you complete your thoughts. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. So I was saying that when citizens ask questions about budget allocation, they are not opposing the government. They are just participating in democracy, right? And we all know that transparency and accountability is strengthening public trust, right? And that is why conversations like this really matter. So, first of all, I hope you know that there was a report finding we did, and we discovered that.
Yeah, go on. Can hear you. Go ahead, Mark.
Go on, please.
Okay, so like I said, we discovered through BUDESHI, and we got to realize that about 25.4 trillion, that is what Nigeria currently owes the World Bank. Now, can you imagine that Nigeria is currently the third largest country that owes the World Bank? Now, what does that mean for Nigeria? Where are we going to get that amount of money to pay back our loan, right? And what is the government using that amount of money to do? And what are they investing in it? Are they going to use that amount of money to invest in healthcare? Are they going to use that amount of money to construct road, right? Are they going to use that amount of money in terms of improving our security and infrastructural development in the country? So, yeah.
Okay. I mean, you said we're owing the World Bank, and that seems to be a lot. And therefore, what they do with the money matters a lot. But looking at this, your investigation comes just days after concerns were raised over 22.15 billion allocated for palace projects, 8.05 billion for mosques, churches, and all that. Do your latest findings actually reinforce a broader pattern, or are they separate concerns altogether? Is this something that happens frequently? It's like a pattern that we see when it comes to budgeting.
Yeah, I would say that is a pattern because from our findings, we got to realize that most of the MDAs, actually none of them had the legal mandates to actually conduct those certain infrastructural projects that they were assigned to them, right? And that is where procurement come into place. And that is also part of the work we do, right? Because procurement budget is, first of all, budgets should certify 3 basic trends, right? Which means, does the allocation align with the legal mandate of the institutions? That's one. And then, is there a clear public needs for the expenditure? That's second. And can citizens also track how that money will be spent through transparent procurement implementation, right? We have seen that some allocations in the 2026 budget have raised questions. For instance, we have seen allocations that appear unrelated to primary mandate for some agencies, right? Now, one clear example is the 600 million for school and streets project under the Nigerian Press Council. Now, please explain to me, how does an institution or how does an agency that is in charge of upholding journalism standard and all of a sudden is being saddled with the responsibility of school project and installing street lights across a particular state? Now, and that is not just a small one. We are seeing about 600 million naira just for streets light installation and school projects. So what does that say about procurement processes, and what does that say about the government actually handling the legal mandate of an institution to conduct that particular project? And we've also seen how the National Agency for the Control of HIV and AIDS, right? Now, you know that that is an agency that is established to coordinate Nigerians' HIV response, right?
Yes.
Now, we also saw that 350 million was distributed to this agency just to distribute grains in Sokoto State. Again, how does grain distribution fit into HIV control? That raises serious questions, right? So, so it's a lot.
Now, Mark, still following on, I mean, the point you just highlighted, one recurring issue is the assignment of projects to agencies whose statutory mandates appear unrelated to those projects. Why is this significant, and what risk does it pose for transparency, procurement, and project implementation? Because it's, I mean, the answer is obvious. It's not the first time. Whose responsibility is it to, flag some of these things and put an end to this? Because quite frankly, it's an insult to Nigerians. I mean, one item I saw, the National Productivity Center, there was a line item there, 150 million, to construct a mosque. So don't you see the irony there? What's the end product of a mosque and then the National Productivity Center's mandate? It's quite unfortunate.
Yeah, thank you so much. First of all, I'll start by saying, I think for a very long time as a country, or our government have not really been honest with themselves. And I think it's really time for us as citizens also, and as a country as a whole, to really have to be honest with the situation that is currently happening in our country. Now, you asked a question about the procurement processes, right? I believe that the Nigerian government have an important role to play in making the budget, budget open and transparent to citizens. And it's also our role as citizens to also be able to access this budget, analyze it, and also find discrepancies within the budget, and also ask questions, and also demand, accountability and transparency from the government, right? And this is not the first time that is happening where we are seeing that a particular project is being allocated to an MDA or an institution that is not their legal mandate to conclude, right? So the government really needs to be honest with themselves, and we as citizens also need to be honest with ourselves, and we also have a role to play in terms of holding the government to account. And part of the work we do at PPDC, and not just PPDC, but other civil society organizations, we are not opposing the government. We are not opposing the government, because some of the findings we do tends to feel like we are opposing the government, or we are trying to paint the government, but no. We are simply just asking simple questions. How is the budget being implemented? What happened here? Who is being saddled with the responsibility to handle this project? And what are the procurement processes? Simple.
Okay, let's go back to your organization, BUDESHI, and your methodology. So walk us through how you identify these questionable allocations and what thresholds you use before making these findings public.
Yeah, so first of all, we do our findings, and when we are not really clear, or when we need more detailed information, that's when we use the FOI Act information, where we send out FOI requests to some of these ministries and institutions to actually give us the procurement processes for a particular project or certain information that we are interested in, right? And yeah, we actually have been getting a lot of positive response from some of these MDAs and institutions, but there are quite a lot of them where we've been having pushbacks as to, getting certain information from them.
What about the Ministry of Agriculture?
Yeah, so that's another different conversation, right?
That's a cash cow.
Now, we've seen that in the recent finding by Tracker. We've seen that the Federal Cooperative College in Ibadan, for example, right, an institution that was established to support cooperative education under the Ministry of Agriculture, was allocated over 2.6 billion for renovating community halls and royal palaces in selected communities. Now, Nigerians are asking whether that falls within the institutional course mandate. Please, again, it's all about asking question. How does a cooperative college is now in charge of building palaces and renovating halls? 2.6 billion naira. How does that make sense? And currently, we are also pushing to get more procurement processes from the present Ministry of Agriculture, right? Because we also need to analyze that. We also need to track where that money is also going, who is being saddled with that responsibility also. We also want to understand the procurement processes that went through for that 2.6 billion naira.
Wow.
Now, some critics have argued that not every unusual allocation is necessarily evidence of wrongdoing. Based on your review, are these findings indicative of possible budget adding, poor planning, constituency project insertion, or simply just weak coordination between government institutions? What is?
Yeah, thank you so much. I think there's actually
any positives to this.
Yeah, thank you so much. First of all, I would say that there's actually poor planning in terms of the Nigerian budget, right? Because we have seen, basically, like I started by saying that the budget is about also where we know the government priorities, or where does the heart of a government is in terms of the budget. Now, we have also identified that based on the allocation, what is the government's major priority in this 2026 budget, right? What is the current situation of Nigeria? What is the urgent need of Nigeria? And how much are we getting in those certain areas or in those certain sectors? In terms of security, how much is being allocated? In terms of health sector, how much is being allocated? In terms of education and infrastructure development, how much is being allocated? So these are all questions that we also need to ask, and we have seen how certain sectors are actually getting low amount of allocations, right, compared to other allocations in the budget. A clear example is we have seen how infrastructure is getting about 6.8 trillion naira, and agriculture got about 3.6 trillion naira. We're also seeing how just women affairs is getting 170 billion naira. Now, what does that say about government priorities? And that is also a conversation about women inclusion and all, right? But that's a different conversation for now. And we're also seeing that social development and poverty reduction is having 800 billion naira. Now, yes, we know that security is a major challenge for our country. But what is the cost of current insurgency and in the country?
That's a lot to look into. But yeah, I think we'll wait in the coming days. Maybe these ministries will eventually confirm that they've received these monies. I'm more particular about the agencies that have nothing to do with the portfolio in which they are saddled to handle. I can't wait to hear that they received the monies and were able to execute. That's one big thing Nigerians should actually wait for. But we hope...
We also need the Ministry of Budget and National Planning to speak on it.
Yes, we're hoping that they will speak on it. And please do well to continue tracking. And do let us know if you find out that the mosques, the churches, and all other things that were actually budgeted for are being fixed or addressed. That will be very interesting to note. Thank you so much for joining us, by the way. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, that conversation is one that will not leave the mouth of Nigerians in a hurry. A Ministry of Agriculture, which is supposed to focus on food, developing a whole lot for the benefit of Nigerians in terms of the food basket to ensure that we have enough to eat, is now saddled with the responsibility of fixing churches and mosques and also street lights. I wonder how that works. Well, that's what we see. We'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll bring to you more stories here on Breakfast Central. Stay with us. Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us here on the Friday edition of Breakfast Central. Let's turn our attention to the presidency. It's been talk about the Appropriation Act and so much more. But the allegations surrounding the 2026 Appropriation Act, yes, continues to spark widespread debate, with civil society organizations raising concerns over questionable allocations and calling for greater transparency in the budgeting process. Beyond the budget itself, Nigerians are also grappling with the impact of ongoing economic reforms, rising debt, and the government's borrowing strategy. Well, to respond to these issues, we're joined by Mr. Tope Ajayi, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity. Mr. Ajayi, welcome to Breakfast Central, and thank you so much for granting us your time.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good
Thank
to
you
be
so
here.
much. Yes. Well, I think once we have a representative from the presidency, it's only right that we look at a list of questions and issues that are indeed burning. And I think the first one will be the budget analysis. I am aware that you are aware of that as well. It's a conversation everyone has been talking about. Now, they're able to identify what they describe as questionable allocations. We've also been able to look through the budget, and it seems pretty much what we would love to ask questions on. So these include projects for mosques, churches, boreholes, musical instruments. My colleague will say jinta instead of guitar, but of course it's part of the fun. But then again, insertions are questionable. Does the presidency accept these findings? And do you think the presidency can dispute these allocations as well?
Well, thank you. There is nothing to dispute in those budget lines. I think if you have followed the development around our budgeting process in the last 25 years, every president since President Obasanjo, and I know since year 2000, when the new democratic government started operating its own budget. Of course, when President Obasanjo took over in 1999, the budget for 1999 was already prepared by the military administration that handed over. So the first full budget that was prepared in this democratic dispensation was actually the year 2000 budget. So since then, every president has always struggled with National Assembly members putting what they call constituency project items under various ministries and departments' budget lines. So these are the issues that every president has had to deal with since 1999. Again, it's also not entirely new. The idea of a constituency project is even from America, where we borrow our presidential system of government. They also have that kind of system in place, which we call it constituency project in Nigeria. In America, they call it earmarks, or what they call pork barrel, where legislators nominate budget items into different federal government related items. So it's not entirely new. In other jurisdictions, you have such practices. But I think what I would rather say is the process of putting these budgets under different MDAs, maybe that can be reformed, and we have a more transparent basis for inserting this budget. So it's not something that is new, and it's not something that is totally strange as being made to look by some civil society actors. We have been dealing with this since year 2000, if I may say again.
People would often say that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. If you say it's not entirely new, it's been like this since 2000, does it make it correct? And does it mean that we can't step away from doing what has been done that is wrong?
There is nothing, really, there's nothing abnormal, really, about this idea of constituency projects. Don't forget that these elected legislators, they were elected by their constituencies. And it is taken that these people who have been elected in their various constituencies, there are certain expectations by their people. And it is also taken that they know their local environment better.
Okay.
So they may know what their people, constituency offices, where they collate from these requests and what they put into budget. So what I'm saying, represent are demanding for some of these things. There's no way the National Assembly, the legislators won't find a way to accommodate what they perceive or what they know as what their people want. Don't forget, first and foremost, these people are politicians and they want to win an election. Of course, we know generally that we can argue that the job of legislators is to make laws for good governance and good order of the country. But we know in practice, that is in theory. But in practice, it's not like that. People are making demand on them. And they're politicians. They want to win election. So the only way they can justify their membership or their presence in the National Assembly or in the state legislature as the case may be, or even in local government council, where they also have their legislative arm, the only way they can justify the electoral mandate that people gave to them is to be seen to have brought developmental projects, roads, schools, hospitals, empowerment to their people. These are what the people demand on them. So really, I think we also need to be kinder to these people, the way we react to some of these things. They are politicians first and foremost. And the purpose of what a politician wants to win an election. And a politician will always do what his people or our people want. So it is the people that are demanding for these things.
Okay, Ms. Ajayi, just to push back on what you said, the people are demanding for these things. And quite frankly, with all due respect, some of these things, on paper, they don't look like what should be priority for the people. I don't think the people would leave the state of their primary health care centers, the state of their dilapidated, roofless schools, and tell their legislators that what we want you to do is to buy instruments for churches, or is to renovate palaces. I mean, on the scale of preference, Nigeria has the highest number of out-of-school kids, and we're allocating money for renovating palaces. It doesn't look like priority. It doesn't look like what the people would demand.
Let me make this point again. We have also seen, go to those communities, go to every local government or constituencies where these legislators come from. You will see a number of projects in healthcare, like you rightly said. You will see schools, primary schools, secondary school buildings that are being renovated or that are being built by this same legislator under their constituency project.
So why are they not assigned to the appropriate ministry and agency that should be facing education?
Listen, we are here. You are not here to win an argument with me.
I'm not arguing.
You are arguing. Let me make my point. What I'm saying is this. It is not correct to say that there are no constituency projects along the line of education, healthcare, and what have you. There actually are. I have seen constituency projects in my community by a federal legislator on rural road construction. I've seen primary school. I've seen secondary school. I've seen tertiary. I've seen primary healthcare. We just came back from just 2 days ago, 3 days ago. We just came back from Kogi to inspect some projects. We saw some of these projects in those communities that are constituency projects. We can argue that some of these, and I've already said in my introductory remark, that can we make this whole idea of constituency projects better? Can they be properly appropriated for and be structured under an arrangement that is more accountable, that is more transparent? That can be a conversation. But to demonize the whole idea of constituency project as is being done, I think that is what I don't agree with.
Okay.
So
rightly.
Yes.
I mean, okay.
Go on.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to mention in response to what you're saying, that you said that these projects should be assigned to the right constituency. The mere fact that these constituency projects, are already assigned to the wrong agencies, doesn't that even raise a red flag to let us know, to speak to the transparency? So are you admitting that is not transparent?
That is the issue. I'm not admitting anything. I'm making a point. The point I'm making is, can we have a better template where these constituency projects can be warehoused under appropriate MDAs that is ministry, department, and agencies. Like rightly said, as a person, I wouldn't want to see a project that are not related to agriculture under the Ministry of Agriculture. I wouldn't want to see projects that are not related to road under the Ministry of Works. So my point is, if legislators want to push their constituency project, if my constituency, let's say I'm a senator, a member of House of Rep, or a state assembly member, or a councillor, if I want to do constituency project in education in my community, if I want to nominate constituency project in education, that project should be under Ministry of Education. It shouldn't be under Ministry of Works. So those are the anomalies that can be corrected. So if, for example, I don't want to see mosque or a town hall or a palace as a constituency project under the Ministry of Health, civil work, any constituency project around civil works maybe should be under Ministry of Works. Constituency projects around education should be under Ministry of Education. Constituency projects around health should be under Ministry of Health. So they will be appropriately delineated and accounted for. So the issue of transparency, the issue of accountability, and even issue of monitoring and functionality can now be better strengthened.
Okay.
So I agree that some of these projects should be put under appropriate ministry, department, and agencies.
Okay, I want us to look at.
But I agree also with the.
I want us to look at a video. I mean, that's further buttresses what you're saying in terms of some of these ministries not getting the right allocation. So if our producers can please share a video of this allocations and the ministries that some of them have been allocated to help our audience understand better. Let's take a look at this video.
Told you that in the 2026 budget, some government agencies were actually budgeting for things that they were never created to do. Can you imagine the Nigerian Press Council, who is saddled with the responsibility of regulating journalism and upholding professional standard, got over 600 million naira for school project and streetlight installation. Now the question is, what does the Nigerian Press Council has to do with installing streetlight and doing school project? Then there's the National Agency for the Control of HIV and AIDS that got 350 million naira just to distribute grains in Sokoto State. Please, how does that make sense? This is the one that will shock you the most. Can you imagine? 6.44 billion was budgeted for special presidential support group for the 2026 World Cup qualifiers. And you can remember that the Super Eagles were eliminated in November 2025, which means that Nigeria did not qualify for the World Cup. But still, 6.44 billion was still budgeted in the 2026 budget. This is not just about numbers, it's about whether public money is being allocated in line with the legal mandate.
So that's a video by BUDESHI. We had them earlier, and they have been tracking the budget as well, just as Tracker and several other civil society organizations. And they pointed out what you have said here, that there should be proper allocations to departments. But if we're going by what is currently existing, which you have said is wrong, and they need to do better, does that not indicate that there's some measure of foul play? Because how does the money then get to the original intent or the original project or the original plan?
I won't use the word you use as foul play. Don't forget that the National Assembly legislators have the power of the purse. They have power of appropriation. As long as the appropriation has gone through the legislative process, approved, signed by law, signed into law by the president, it becomes a legal document. It becomes the appropriation law of the country. So there is no foul play about that. So saying foul play will mean something illegal. So I think we need to use right framing and right words. So because we are talking to the members of the public. However, like I said, and I've made the point earlier, that constituency project can be better provided for or funded or appropriated for if they were housed under appropriate ministries, departments, and agencies of government that have direct mandate for those in those areas. And one, what that will do, there will be better accountability, which is important in public finance. There will be better monitoring, because you now have people in those MDAs that have the skill set and the technical know-how to follow those projects and ensure they are implemented and executed as budgeted for. So really, somebody in the Ministry of Agriculture, for example, where you put something in medical sector, in Ministry of Agriculture, for example, somebody who is not a doctor, who is a medical personnel, will not be able to know whether whoever is the contractor executing such project, whether they are even using the right material, whether they are following the bill of quantity or as the case may be. So yes, we can have this conversation around how it can be better structured. But the point I'm making is the whole idea of consistency project is not new. And the way we media people and civil society people, oftentimes the way we frame a lot of conversations create needless controversies around issues of public interest. People need to be better educated, better informed about some of these issues, rather than trying to scandalize everything, which is often time what we see. We just muddle the water, create needless controversy, then the members of the public are confused. Like I rightly said, the whole idea of consensus project is not something new. It's not peculiar to Nigeria. It happens in every other country, under different names, under different designs and arrangements. Like I told you, in the US, they call it earmarks or pork barrel, where US congressmen and women nominate projects into federal budget, things that their people want, because they actually know their constituencies better than somebody in Abuja or somebody in Washington. So people make demand on them. And politicians, don't forget, like I said earlier, politicians want to do things that will make them electable.
Does that mean that because they have to do things that will make them electable, therefore they have to go ahead and do the same thing over and over again? My colleague had just said doing the same thing over and over again doesn't mean that, you get the proper result. I want to ask you a question. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is called renewed hope. This is 3 years and counting. Wasn't it enough, or is it not enough to have renewed and re-engineered the process at which this is being done? You said it passed through the assembly, they must have seen it, they approved it, therefore it means it is legal. So I can rightly conclude as a journalist that the PFICP is also legal, because it also had a budget there, 1.3 billion. It's legal too. So why are we wasting our time going to court or holding on to a certain prince that is an illegal DG? It's legal because it's there in the budget. It's been approved.
So that is you are bringing an extraneous issues into this.
How?
What you are trying to bring into this is.
But the Ministry of Agric.
But it does mean the presidency doesn't do a proper oversight function.
That's another thing.
Before appending and assenting to the budget, if they can allow some of these anomalies to pass through.
Nigerian Press Council, 600 million.
If it's not structured properly.
I have told you, listen, I have told you, don't try to confuse the conversation, the narrative. I've told you, under Nigerian Constitution, the National Assembly has the power of the purse. They have to appropriate. That is not the job of the president, or the job of the presidency. So I think we need to first of all understand our constitution and how our budget.
But the president can refuse to assent to that budget.
He can refuse to assent, but don't also forget that after 30 days, don't see, and again, this issue of public education. President can refuse to assent a bill. But after 30 days, it automatically becomes a law, whether the president assents or not. So you need to understand that.
If I hear you correctly, are you then implying that the National Assembly is the one to blame for the lacunas that are being found in the budget?
I'm not blaming anybody. The point I'm making is we first need to be clear about the whole idea of constituency project. It shouldn't be demonized like some of you are trying to do. There's nothing wrong about it. That's the point I'm making. There's nothing wrong about it.
Let's speak from a moral standpoint now.
This is not a matter of morality.
Okay, I'd like to ask a question here. The APC government has demanded extraordinary sacrifice from Nigerians. The president has oftentimes said, you know, we need to tighten our belt. Let's make the sacrifice for a better future. And Nigerians in the last 3 years have gone through really earth-shaking policies. And many have also commended Mr. President for having the bravery to do that. It's just that majority of the people are they get the short end of the stick. Through subsidy removal, currency devaluation, higher taxes, and rising cost of living, on the promise that every naira will be used more responsibly. So the controversial allocations for mosques, churches, and questionable constituency projects not undermine the moral argument that Nigerians continue to sacrifice while the government appears unable to demonstrate equivalent fiscal discipline.
Well, like I said, this is not an issue of morality. It's an issue of meeting needs of people. See, what we have...
I don't think those youths want musical instruments.
Hold on.
They would rather get jobs.
Question.
Yes.
Hold on. Government cannot employ everybody. The job of government is to create an enabling environment for private sector to thrive. Private sector is the largest employer of people anywhere in the world. So it's not the government cannot, there's no government in the world that can employ every citizen. So we need to get that fact clear. The point I'm making is this. If this money, like we said, are properly used as provided for, if my community, for example, or your community needs a road, and your legislator is able to make that happen, if that road is done and serves the need of the people in terms of access, connectivity, productivity, will you say that is a moral issue?
Yes, I will. I will.
That is a moral issue.
I will. So because Mr. Ajayi,
hold on. Your community needs a road, and the road has been provided. So how is it a moral issue?
It's a moral issue because, first of all, we're citizens and we deserve to know how much was spent, who the contractor was, and we need to know how it was budgeted for. It's moral. It's moral.
It is already taken that the procurement process, you have known the contractor, you have known the amount budgeted for the road. My point is the road has been delivered based on specification, based on quality.
All right.
Would that legislator have met the need of his people or our people?
So we're out of time, sir. All right. Just as quickly as possible. I mean, just to quickly highlight in 20 seconds. So who should bear the responsibility when we're talking about accountability? Who is accountable to Nigerians for these errors that you yourself have, affirmed that there have been errors in the budgeting process?
There's no. I didn't say there was an error. There's no
You've talked about it needing to be more transparent.
Don't misquote me.
No, you said it needs to be more transparent. So
I said the process can be made better. I said I agree that some of those consultancy projects should be warehoused under the right ministry, department, and agencies. So that is the conversation we should be having. But the whole principle of consultancy project, I said there is nothing wrong about it. Wow. They are advancing development. They are meeting the developmental needs of the people.
All right, as we wrap up, just to mention.
What you think is important to you, or to one community may not be important to another community.
As we wrap up, just to mention what this looks like, a practical example would be me applying to management to say that I need, say, for example, 300 or 500,000 naira for wardrobe allowance to be able to look good on television. Management then puts wardrobe allowance for Olive, and they send it to the security department. How can we then trace it, really? So.
And it's fine as long as the security gives me 100,000 naira and I buy clothes. They don't care how.
I think the problem is you want to force your own narrative.
I'm not forcing my narrative, no.
That's what you are doing. I've already told you that this consulting project should be put under the...
Yeah, but some of them are dubious and ridiculous.
All right. We don't have enough time, unfortunately. You know, we're running out of time. We will come back to ask about the separation of the state and religion, because we think that that's another conversation that needs to be had with regards to how our budget is being implemented. But again, thank you very much for joining us. We look forward to having a conversation with you again. We will continue to, we believe that the government does owe Nigerians accountability, so we appreciate that you took out the time to come speak with us, and we look forward to continue the conversation with you again. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, all right, we're going to a very quick break. We will come back to continue the conversation about the budgeting. We have an organization that has been at the top of monitoring Nigeria's budget, the federal government's budget, and we, of course, by virtue of that, we know their name is BudgIT, and they'll be joining us right after this break.
We now turn our attention to BudgIT, one of Nigeria's leading civic technology and public accountability organizations. BudgIT has played a key role in analyzing the 2026 Appropriation Act, uncovering and documenting many of the controversial budget allocations, including projects for mosques, churches, and other questionable insertions that have sparked widespread public debate. Joining us this morning is Oluwaseyi Adenuga, Research and Policy Analyst at BudgIT, to help us unpack the organization's findings, explain what they reveal about the budget process, and discuss what reforms are needed to strengthen transparency and accountability. Thank you for joining us, Oluwaseyi.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Now, BudgIT's analysis brought many of these controversial allocations to the public attention. Can you take us through your findings, and what exactly did your team unravel, and what's the most alarming? I mean, there are many, top three.
Insertion has been a recurrent thing in the Nigerian budget, and it is not happening the first time in 2026. It has happened year in, year out, and we see a lot of projects being inserted into the budget in the process of approval between proposer and approver. And this is becoming alarming year in, year out, that the figure keep increasing. And you look at it as, upon all noise we are making, upon all the advocacy we are trying to put in place to stop all this, it seems the legislatures are not listening to us. And I think it is time also that the citizens also put in their own voice also into this, so that we can have a united voice on this. It has always been on the rising. From in 2024, we have over 6,000 projects inserted into the budget, closely over 3-point-something trillion. And also last year, 11,122 new projects were inserted between the process of propose and approve. And this amount to 6.98 trillion. And look at it, some of these are so-called constituency projects, and when you look at the figures, it's so alarming that you will see a project above 5 billion. When you look at our analysis last year, when we were able to break down last year in sections, which is around 6.9 trillion, we have over 238 projects that are above 5 billion. And then we have projects that are around 1 billion to 5 billion, which is around 984. So when you look at all these projects making up finding their way into the budget. It gives concern. It gives some concern, and not just finding their way into this budget, but you see them under an agency that their core mandate is not in alignment with such projects, and this brings questions. Why is this project finding their way onto this MDA, which does not have the power, the capacity to oversee such projects? And I think it is time that every one of us not just leave it for the civil and non-governmental organization alone, but let every Nigerian start talking now. And by so doing, we saw even one of them raising their alarm last year, Senator Ningi, and we all saw what they did to him by suspend. So all this needs to stop if we want a better and a good country. Thank you so much.
All right. I mean, we just had a representative, a special assistant to the president join us, and he just said that there's nothing wrong in all of that. Yes, he agrees that maybe the process, but he clearly says there's nothing wrong, and his belief is that as long as the projects are embarked upon and deliveries are made, then it's all well and fine. This leaves us with a question. What's the way forward after identifying these loopholes? How do we deal with it going forward? Seeing that a member from the presidency has said there's nothing wrong.
And it's been like that since 2000. I mean, that it could be better with their allocation to the different ministries, but that there's really nothing wrong in that.
Yeah, I think what we need to do going forward is in the process of budgets, in the process of the budget being passed into law, let's there be a proper audit of all line items, that all capital projects. Let civil organization, non-governmental organization, external auditor audit those line items to see which one falls under a wrong MDA, because by so doing, they will always say there is nothing wrong as far as they are able to deliver. Can an agricultural agency deliver a housing project to, how can we get a maximum quality and the quality expected for such projects? So it's so disheartening that we are just trying to find our way around this to make it look it's a normal norm. So for us to have an headway here, we have to a proper audit before the budget is being presented to the public as approved. Let external bodies, let non-governmental organizations be actively involved. Let them vent this project before, and let there be a proper alignment. And with that, we can have a better headway.
Okay, but there's also the belief that civil society organizations such as yours and all the others who are holding the government to account and who are asking questions. In fact, in the conversation, he did mention that they were trying to whip up a narrative. So, you know, there's been an accusation that there's a narrative that we're trying to whip up. From your investigation, from the research that you've done, would you say that this is a concern that when the average Nigerian hears about, they feel some type of way? Are the Nigerians asking questions, or are they okay with it?
Their voice are not what amplified enough. I will tell you categorically, in the course of venting the proposed budget, we noticed some improper alignment of MBA spellings. Like in educational sector, we saw an allocation, the University of Dash, the name of the MBA, that is the University of Dash, which university, an allocation was made. So we saw something like that, and before it was being passed into law, we did a memo to the National Assembly and pointing out all these shortcomings that we noticed. And to be candid, by the time the proposed budget will come out, then we are now seeing University of Makurdi and the University of which there is now a proper alignment there. So if that is why I said in the process of proposed to approval, if external bodies are being given the chance to vent this document, I think there will be a change. And also, the budget circular, we always say that the budget and the public should be carried along. I think maybe, if possible, if we can make public the proposed budget, let also some representative from the external bodies like the student union, the labor union, all these unions, let them come together and let them see, okay, this is falling into the right place, this is falling into the right place, this is falling, and then by so doing, we will not have all these issues going forward.
All right. Just before we begin to wrap up this conversation, I mean, beyond the religious insertions, what are the scandalous line items did your organization track in the budget?
There are a lot of them, and from the video you mentioned earlier, that was shown earlier, we saw a line item being allocated for the qualification of the Super Eagles, whereas the Super Eagles were out of the qualification since November last year. And if you remember vividly, the budget was sent to the House in December. Is it not November 19th or 20th of December? So which means intentionally this finds its way into the thinking some people might not have their eyes, let's focus on this. But there are so many, because it will start to mention, and what I just want everybody to, like, that is why before the budget is being sent to the public, for approval, let it be made public. Let it be made public. Let there be a proper venting. There are so many projects that you will see. There are projects that falls under building of palaces. When you look at amounts that goes into building of palaces, I just look at it and I feel like, are we building palaces that are already in existence, or we are renovating them with such huge amounts? So some are improper allocation, some are out of mandate, while some are frivolous. That is, some of them, there are so many projects on that budget that their pricing is being inflicted, the allocation is being inflicted, and this has always been a proper norm, a normal norm that we have always fished out in all our budgets, right from over the years. For over the years now, this has always been the norms.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, and thanks for highlighting these norms. We would wait to hear from concerned citizens. The civil society organizations are doing their best and enlightening Nigerians. But wait to hear what the presidency will say going forward. Hopefully, they will change the processes. But thanks for your time. We appreciate it. Thank you. Away from that story now, let's tell you that the House of Representatives has passed a bill seeking to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in 1999 as amended to provide for the establishment of state police services. The development, which follows the adoption of a report presented by the House Committee on Constitution Review, is coming about about 3 weeks after the Senator passed the same executive bill on state police. There was, however, a mild drama in the House as members of opposition parties staged a walkout following the refusal of the House leadership to consider a clause-by-clause approval of the bill. Our correspondent Idong Joseph tells us more in this report.
The chairman of the Constitution Review Committee.
9 days after rescinding an earlier vote on the state police bill in early June to adopt an executive bill seeking the establishment of state police services, the executive bill is up for consideration and voting.
You know that over the years, it is our practice that when we pass laws here, they still go through the scrutiny of the executive before the assent of the president is given. But here, the Commander-in-Chief decided to make it easier for us to partner with us in making sure that what we have labored for, that he gives it the kind of structure that will make it fly easier.
With the bill containing 26 clauses and an explanatory memorandum, it's only required a two-thirds majority to be passed by the House.
We have Honorable Clement Jimbo. We have Honorable Adamu Suleja. If you add the total names, we have 35 names in support. And if you add the total members who have signed our register, totaling 276, plus the 35 members that have shown their direction on the platform of the House, we have a total of 311 members.
Following this, the minority leader raised a point of order but was overruled by the Speaker, which led members of the minority parties to stage a walkout, citing concerns over the provisions of some clauses in the bill.
Mr. Chairman, point of order. By the question, those in support of this motion say aye, those against say nay. That is it.
They accused the Speaker of disregarding the provisions of the Constitution and denying the House due consideration of the bill.
We as Civil Minority Caucus, we are in support of this bill, but that there are certain amendments in these alterations that we will require to bring in. Read the long title of it and then put a voice question for determination of an alteration that requires two-thirds and clause-by-clause consideration and voting is absurd.
While the Deputy Speaker assures that many of the concerns raised by stakeholders will be addressed during the implementation phase of the bill, the Minority Caucus argued that such actions undermine the integrity of Parliament. In Abuja for News Central, Idong Joseph.
So as it stands now, we are going to have another challenge right in front of us as Nigerians. The package you just saw, done by our correspondent Idong Joseph, who put in a very detailed account, shows that in as much as the presidency, in as much as a cross-section of Nigerians are calling for a reform on the 1999 constitution surrounding police, the police reform, and now we're looking at it from state police, we are going to have issues. Why? Because there was no clause-by-clause review of the...
And Joe, like they say the devil is in the detail. And we've been down this road before.
Electoral reform.
With regards to electoral reform and also the tax reform bill.
Yes.
And I don't know why they keep doing this over and over again. Like we've said, and many guests have said, during an analysis of state policing, it's not the silver bullet that will solve all questions of insecurity. I don't know why the government feels, you know, the people are yearning for insecurity, and when they ask questions as to what are we doing about it, we point to state police. And as a matter of fact, they want to rush legislation through. What? These are decisions that will deal with Nigerians who have to live with for years. So there's no rush. We've not had state policing since independence. It's better we do a thorough job. It's better to have a quality outcome than to have a rush. You can't just, let's go with it. These are people that are going to bear arms. Nigerians will have to interact with them on a daily basis. And the legislative act that will bring it into life, you just want to pass it without going through clause-by-clause debate. I think it's lazy on the part of the parliamentarians, and it should be rejected, and Nigerians should call their representatives and scrutinize this.
It's a big challenge, I must say, and in as much as we're going down this lane again, guess what? We'll come back to it, because how are you sure that there are certain clauses in that
they
reform?
Can put, if you don't put your state policeman in the morning.
Yes, so...
Yes, and then it's after they pass it there, you know, say, oh, that clause is there.
And then
it might sound comical, but we've seen the sort of ridiculous things.
You know what, let's actually go on a break. We'll come back and continue this conversation, but you can also join us on YouTube to share your thoughts about it.
Welcome back. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has received a delegation of political leaders and senior government officials from Nigeria's northeast at the State House in Abuja, led by Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum. The appreciation visit follows the president's decision to re-nominate Vice President Kashim Shettima as his running mate for the 2027 general elections. The delegation included prominent APC leaders and federal officials who expressed gratitude for Shettima's renomination after President Tinubu recently presented him with the party's vice presidential candidate certificate.
I hold democracy, consistency, dedication, and steady facts to stabilize the country, the polity, the economy. And one of the greatest aspects of it is the economy. The economy is already stabilized. So many of the governors here present, I want to say thank you very much. I want to charge you to do more.
We are here for just one overriding purpose, to show our appreciation and thank you most profoundly for the renomination of an accomplished son of our region. His Excellency Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON, as your vice presidential running mate in the forthcoming 2027 presidential election.
Together with my brothers and sisters from the Northeast, to publicly acknowledge the great leadership, vision, and commitment to the Federal Republic of Nigeria by our elected president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and to reaffirm and recommit ourselves to be his partner in ensuring that his efforts continue, as our leader, the governor of Borno State, said, for the next 5 years.
Very interesting there, and I think it's all right to douse the fire, and that's what the president has done. Well, the fire of is this still going to be the vice president? The rumors were swelling, and that's how you deal with it.
The communication people didn't say anything; they just let it, die its natural course. It's now that the deed has been done at the 11th hour, and we're now here in appreciation. Adupe.
Okay.
But bottom line, it's
so congratulations to him. And like I said, it's unprecedented for a ruling president to change his running mates in the middle of, I mean, if you still have one term to go constitutionally. So, either way you look at it, it's continuing in that tradition by retaining Senator Kashim Shettima, who's, many will say he's done a good job in deputizing for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And I've also observed that President Tinubu hasn't embarked on any overseas trip recently.
No, not yet. But he said the economy is stabilized.
This has to be his longest stay in Nigeria since he was sworn
into office. Anyway, comments on YouTube. Viewers are saying economy stabilized indeed. They seem to find a loophole in that statement. But then again, it's now been put off, all the statements made about the vice president being changed ahead of 2027. The president has been able to douse that fire, so the conversations can now move on. But don't forget, we're still following the BudgIT story. We're still having our polls, filling the polls on that story. It's not gone yet. The updates simply are that the alleged, or you would say the embattled DG, was being quizzed by the ICPC, and we're waiting to see what reports will come out of that. Don't forget that the ICPC owes Nigerians answers, especially looking at how that particular office was able to sneak into the same troubled budget that we've been talking about.
And also the
throughout.
House of Representatives that is undergoing an investigation that is highlighting this issue of ICPC.
Yeah.
FC.
That's another one. That's another one.
EFIPC.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the Minister of Works
What
is also still in the story. We've not.
Lighter note, before you say that important thing you want to say. What if the P in PFIPC stands for Prince?
Well, even that Prince is debatable.
They said the Prince is debatable.
His ancestral home to check his lineage, and they said there's no blue blood.
Exactly why? Because the P stands for Prince. Prince is debatable, and now PFIPC is debatable.
No, it's not. So we that PIP.
I mean, it's in the Constitution. The president.
It's in the Constitution. That you see, regardless of all arguments.
The budget.
It's in the budget. I beg your pardon. Regardless of all the arguments,
signed to the president, so it gives it legitimacy. That's
what we're trying to let our guest who joined in, the special advisor on media to the president, that as long as these things are signed, if you say the other ones for agriculture are approved, assented to, so that they can be used, it means that every other thing in the budget, you can't single them out. Or can you say, oh no, the PFIPC, well, that was signed, but it was. So what are the same? It's the same. That means the process in which these things are carried out should be looked into. Isn't that so?
I mean, it's our question. It's our job as journalists to ask questions. We might be asking questions, and you might think we're modeling the waters. We're not.
It's quite
legitimate questions that our viewers at home, if they had the opportunity.
Benga, we've seen all the questions here. People have dropped their questions here, and those are the questions they're asking. Okay, take for instance, let me highlight one.
Let me just read this one.
The World Cup.
Better says, which politician has the 6.4 billion naira for World Cup?
Thank you.
Then another one says, which politician made the demand for humongous amounts for World Cup? Okay, same one. Another one says, it's ambiguous to just say money we're giving to churches or equipment. Mention the churches, make their names public. And then Annie Chinedu Brown says, these are a gang of criminals that hijack the government for themselves. Imagine the impunity. You know, and I mean, there have been different reactions.
People will react to...
so we are extraying the thoughts of Nigeria.
Yeah. And I think it's in place for a government to help the people understand better what it's doing. And that's where you have needs for conversations like this. That's why you have the media available so that you can pass the information clearly. And what we've seen with all this information that we've taken in from today's conversation is this, that it's moral to actually put budgets in an agency that has nothing to do with the project.
Know how much it takes you to...
That's what is being said.
And then these are taxpayers' funds, and you're telling me that we can't put morality there. We need to know how our monies are spent. If it's spent on frivolity, if it's embezzled, Nigerians have a right to accountability. Anyway, we have to go now and take the breakfast headline news. After that, we'll be looking at the front pages of the newspaper. We'll be right back after this. Hello, welcome to Breakfast Headlines. I am Benga Aboroa. Days after 2 Ansar commanders were sentenced to life over terrorism, Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has also sentenced 3 suspects to life over their involvement in the Orire school kidnap incident. The convicts had earlier pleaded guilty to counts 4, 5, 6, 7, and to 10 of the charges brought against one of which is concealing information about the masterminds of the attack. The defendants, arraigned before Justice Salem Ibrahim of the Federal High Court, also pleaded guilty to being members of Darul Salam, an affiliate of Ansaru, a proscribed terrorist organization. The court thereby adjourned trial of the remaining counts 1, 2, and 3 to 16 and 17 to September 2026.
The court had the allegation the state preferred against the defendant. They therefore haven't confirmed that they understood those allegations. chose to plead guilty to count 4, count 6, count 7 to 10, and pleaded not guilty in respect of count 1, 2, and 3. So we went ahead to review the fact of the case and to call witness, tender available and relevant evidence, which the court relied on and convicted those the first, second, and third defendant. My Lord had equally adjourned trial of the remaining counts, count 1, 2, 3, to the 16th and 17th of September. The sentencing that my Lord opposed today clearly demonstrates the commitment of the judiciary to the fight against.
Meanwhile, the Department of State Services, DSS, says it will appeal the life sentence, saying the punishment does not reflect the gravity of the offences. It maintains that the kidnapping was linked to members of the Ansari terrorist group. 2 teachers were beheaded during the incident, and that the crimes warrant the maximum penalty under the law. The agency had maintained the same position earlier in the week when the 2 Ansari commanders were also sentenced to life. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved the expansion of the Nigerian Army from 8 to 12 divisions to strengthen national defense operations. The new structure forms part of ongoing measures to improve military capacity, including the planned recruitment of 28,000 personnel, equipment acquisition, and troop welfare programs. The development follows wider efforts by the government to address evolving security challenges and modernize the armed forces. The additional unit will expand operational coverage across the country. Now to some politics. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has received a delegation of political leaders and senior government officials from Nigeria's northeast at the State House in Abuja. Led by Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum, the appreciation visit follows a decision by Mr. President to renominate Vice President Kashim Shettima as his running mate for the 2027 general elections.
I hold democracy, consistency, dedication, and steady facts to stabilize the country, the polity, the economy. And one of the greatest aspects of it is the economy. The economy is already stabilized. So many of the governors here present, I want to say thank you very much. I want to charge you to do more.
We are here for just one overriding purpose, to show our appreciation and thank you most profoundly for the renomination of an...
Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has dismissed claims by former Ogun State Governor Olusegun Oshoba that it deceived the Alliance for Democracy leaders ahead of the 2003 general elections. In a letter responding to Oshoba's allegations, former President Obasanjo insisted that he never misled anyone and maintained that the former governors genuinely lost the 2003 elections. The former president said he was not part of any alleged political arrangement between the Alliance for Democracy governors and Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Obasanjo also defended his political decisions, rejected accusations of deceit, and criticized ethnic-based politics, saying political competition should be guided by ideas and policies rather than bitterness or personal animosity. He urged politicians to preserve relationships despite political differences. Ghanaian President John Mahama has renewed calls for the African Union to place recent anti-migrant violence in South Africa on its agenda, saying the unrest is escalating and threatens African solidarity. He raised the issue during talks with the African Union Commission chairperson Mahmoud Ali Yusuf in Accra. Mahama said the AU should provide a platform for member states to address the crisis collectively. Meanwhile, 2 Ghanaians have petitioned the International Criminal Court to investigate alleged repeated xenophobic attacks, claiming authorities failed to protect foreign nationals. Ghana also postponed a planned visit by South African President Cyril Ramaphosa following the death of a Ghanaian national in South Africa. That's all on Breakfast Headlines. I am Benga Bora. Breakfast Central continues shortly. You're welcome back to Breakfast Central. We have some news for you, not so pleasant news. There's been an incident on Kara Bridge this morning on the way to just approaching the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. There are reports of multiple accidents as residents are stuck in traffic gridlock on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway as the early hours of Friday, 24th of July, this morning, according to the Federal Road Safety Corps Lagos Sector Commander. The rescue teams are currently managing the aftermath of multiple road traffic crashes that occurred at the Kara Bridge along Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Lead correspondent Bernard Akede is at the site of the accident where we believe evacuation is taking place and will bring us live reports on the situation on ground. Good morning, Bernard. A very sad way for Lagosians to wake up and start their Friday. Can you please bring us up to speed with the incident in Kara Bridge and if there are any reports of casualties following the multiple accidents that has been reported?
Yes, Benga, good morning to you and to everyone on the breakfast show. Yes, indeed, a very sad morning it is for Lagosians and those plying the ever-busy Lagos-Ibadan Expressway corridor, which is one of the busiest in terms of interstate in Nigeria. Now, we got the message this early morning that what you can see behind me basically, yes, we are, what you can see behind me basically is the aftermath of the accident that we had, multiple car crashes, I may add. Based on the information that I got, the lady who just came to me now is the Public Relations Officer of the Federal Road Safety Command, Lagos State. And according to what she said, there were about 5 trucks this morning that had, that had some crazy collision and crashes earlier around 12 midnight, early in the morning. Okay, we have the sector commander now, so I'd let him, have most of this. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us, as always. We see that, unfortunately, this gridlock is not going anywhere, but we see that your officers are on ground trying to make things work. Could you please hint us on what exactly happened leading to what we are seeing right now?
Yes. There was an initial crash involving 2 vehicles. Every other driver is supposed to be patient because some vehicles actually waited. We are having backlog already. Before one, I wouldn't call it brake failure because we have not established it, out of driver's carelessness, ram into the ones in front. Hence, this multiple crash we are seeing. So, it is always advisable that if we see crashes, as drivers, from distance we will see backlog. We should be able to be cautious. That's why when we say 3 causes of road traffic crashes, talking of human, mechanical, and environmental. Human factor, attitude of driver is that thing we need to change. Yes, we have some environmental factor in terms of this road construction. The road is good, but I want to tell you, there is need to take care of the expansion joint on this Kara Bridge outward Lagos, because vehicles try to maneuver. In an attempt to maneuver, they ram into another vehicle. So what I want to say is that the government should immediately, as a matter of urgency, take care of that expansion joint so that things like this cannot even come. Excesses of drivers can be taken care of by environmental factors.
Okay, sir. So let's just step away for safety. I want to ask, what's the, the numbers? Do we have any casualties, any injured, any fatalities?
So far, we've been able to talk of one dead person and, of course, 2 injured. The dead one has been taken to a clinic in Shagamu for the purpose of preservation. Then the other two other ones have been taken to the hospital, and they are already responding to treatment.
And the operations on ground, what are your officers doing at the moment?
Like you can see, this tow truck is trying to see to ensuring that at least one lane we have succeeded in creating. Myself, other agencies, LASMA, Trace, Police, LASEMA, everyone, every hand is on deck to ensuring that within the nearest minute we'll be able to clear this area. And
finally, sir, I know you just talked about certain things that you are suggesting should be done to the Kara Bridge. Over and over again, we've seen multiple accidents, some like this, some not this serious, on this Kara Bridge. It's beginning to beg for questions. I'd like you to reiterate again, and if there's anything you want to add, what should be done so that we stop seeing these kind of issues on this bridge?
You see, the expansion joint did not just happen here. It was inward and outward Lagos. That of inward Lagos was taken care of. But when it was time to take care of outward Lagos, the pain was too much on the citizen. I think the earlier we go through these pains, once and for all the better, so that this expansion joint can be fixed. There's no way we will have gain without some element of pain. So we better face it head on and fix this expansion. It doesn't matter which pain it will take, give and take. A week or 2, we will fix it. So I want to admonish that the government should just close eyes and get it done. Whatever it takes, after every pain, gain follows.
Thank you very much, sir. Well, so Gbenga, you've heard it all from the Sector Commander, Federal Road Safety Corps, Lagos State Command. I did see footage of the fatality, the casualty. We had very gory images on TV, definitely. But so far, what we have now is, I wouldn't call it rescue operation. I basically would say they are trying to clear the wreckage on the bridge. Now, the sad part again is that, with multiple crashes, there's more damage, happening to this particular facility. So just like Sector Commander did say, we would need for the authorities to, and very speedily too, get towards fixing whatever needs to be worked on concerning the Kara Bridge. But as for today, unfortunately, I don't see people moving anywhere anytime soon. Those going out of Lagos, coming into Lagos, the Federal Road Safety Command in Lagos had sent, a message around for alternative routes that could be used, and I advise that residents of Lagos and environs use those alternatives. Back to you, Gbenga.
Thank you so much, Bernard. Very sad incident indeed, and thanks to the sector commander for keeping us up to speed with this incident. We'll definitely connect with you in subsequent bulletins for updates. Thank you. You're watching Breakfast Central, News Central Television. We'll go on a quick break, and when we return, we will be looking at the front pages of the newspapers. You stay with us. We'll be right back after this.
Welcome back to Breakfast Central. It's time for us to review the front pages of the papers. We have with us a journalist of global repute, Mr. Habib Haruna. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for being here.
And astute political analysis,
yes.
and a friend of the house. Absolutely. One who's not afraid to speak truth to power. Great to have you, sir.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's get into the papers very quickly. The front page of let's start with the Observer Times newspaper and see what the front page is saying. On the front page of the Observer Times, we can see here, Army manhunt for soldiers selling uniforms to terrorists. My goodness.
This is what you call army man, I'm an army man.
This is serious.
Oh, my goodness.
I saw the Nigerian Army Instagram page yesterday, and they put 2 pictures of this soldier because it belongs to the Ordnance Corps. The Ordnance Corps is responsible for fitting soldiers with their kits and essentials, and for him, in such a sensitive position, to sell uniforms to terrorists, it's one of the grievous offenses you can think of. So it's nice that, it's the Nigerian police and EFCC that you always see wanted pictures for the Nigerian army to put you on their page and, tell you that you're wanted. It means
you have really casted.
Exactly. You're in for it.
Okay, still on the Observer Times, of course, still linked to that story, preliminary investigations link private amutu to insurgent networks. Military vows to prosecute personnel aiding non-state actors as probe deepens. Tinubu approves army expansion to 12 divisions, recruits 28,000 personnel. Court sentences suspects in Oriri abduction to life imprisonment. Reps pass state police bill. IGP unveils 14-day operation in a major push for peace in Benue. Tension as Enugu airplane skids off runway in Benin. Cardoso briefs Senate targets single-digit inflation after successful banking recapitalization. Adeleke suspends NURTW operations in all Osun motor parks. These are the stories on the front page. Let's see which one you'd like to react to.
The lead story of Observer's Times and the other story on the front page, Tinubu approves army expansion to 12 divisions. I think that is very, very...
Very good story.
Notable, and you should applaud it. You know,
but I want us to dig deeper into it.
Shows that...
as somebody who, I mean, I have family in the army. I almost had a career in the army myself. It's and I've been seeing social media trends of professionalism, especially NA26 batch, these ones that have just been recruited. And before, the recruitment line was only, or you go to Depot, Zaria, that's where they churn out non-commissioned officers from NCOs. And now you have Depot, Shogbo, and other places. And even on the show, we've highlighted the growing incidents of gross indiscipline from members of the Nigerian army. So the fact that we have a security problem, does it mean that we're lowering our standards in order to accommodate more numbers? Or it's a step in the right direction? Because it seems that discipline is suffering. I've seen videos, I dare not. I mean, when I was in the military, we could not, even as a boy soldier, it wasn't possible to ridicule the uniform in that sense. So they are mingling with civilians, they are dancing, doing TikTok videos. I wonder what the social media policy is. So is it just a case of numbers and employment, or do you expect them to be a professional army and efficient in dealing with this?
But the instances that you just mentioned, they are not too... They are not normal instances. These are instances that are rare in the army. If you look at the history of our Nigerian army...
We heard what happened in the hostel.
What I'm saying is that those are just instances. That they are not... You cannot use this to generalize as a generalization of what is going on in the army. And if you look at the history of our army, it's an army of professionalism. That's why when they go abroad, they perform. So I think we should give them that kudos. So, and I think the president must have, and the commander-in-chief must have put this thing into consideration. It must have been well debated by the senior hierarchy of the armed forces before they decided to join.
Okay,
let's do it. So I think it's a give it constitution. To me, I think it's a decision that is done.
We need to go on a very quick break. We'll come back and we'll continue the conversation. We're streaming live on YouTube. You can head there to drop your comments, as we'll take comments on YouTube via New Central TV Live. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at the front pages as we continue. Back to the Observer's Time very quickly and see if there's any other story we can take there. The phone lines will be open as well. Feel free to call in and let us know what you think. Observer's Time, there's a story that court sentences the suspects in Oriri abduction to life imprisonment. We've taken that one as well. IGP unveils 14 days. We've taken everything. Let's move on now to the Punch newspaper very quickly. Let's go to the Punch. There's a story on the front page of the Punch. It says, walkout rocks House of State Police Bill passes. I would really love for us to talk about this. Protest erupts over controversial House vote. Again, our reporter did justice to this story. We did run with the report on Breakfast Central just a few minutes ago, where the minority said we need to go clause by clause so that we can know what is written in the Constitution as amended the 1999 Constitution concerning state police. But it seemed like the majority didn't want to listen. And the Speaker, and of course, the House of Rep, was actually erupted with differences in voice.
If you look at the way the papers are reporting it this morning, the papers are reporting it that House has passed the state police bill.
Imagine.
But look at the way Punch carried it.
Yeah.
But there was a walkout after the bill has been passed. Yeah, there was a walkout after the bill has been passed. And what Punch report is saying is that, you know, the rest members, the minority members in the House of Reps are saying that, why are you in a hurry to pass this thing? We are not against state police, you know, but we are saying that it's according to the spokesperson of the minority members.
Yes.
He said it's an alteration bill. In other words, they were saying that they should be looking to clause by clause. The rest wanted them to vote clause by clause, but the way Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, who presided over the matter, did it was to them unconstitutional and not in line with the rules of the House. So they were saying that they are not particularly against state police, but it's a very important bill, you know. Yes. But you need to follow the process, you know, and that it should not have been a voice vote. I was also wondering, why should it be a voice vote? I think it's becoming a recurring decimal in this assembly. Between the House of Reps and Senate, you passed in a jiffy, something that is of utmost importance to Nigeria and their future. They say they are not against it, because it's very important at this point of our history. But why are you rushing it? That should have been done properly. That is why they decided to walk out to demonstrate their reservation. Yeah.
Okay, we have Uche calling from Abia. Hello, Uche. Good morning. Thank you for calling. Please go ahead.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Yeah. This issue of the state police, we are being told security is for everybody's business. Why is it that these people don't want us to contribute regards to state police? If you see something, say something. But when you talk about how to secure Nigeria, few people will decide on how to secure us. It's a pity. This 10th assembly, on your mandate, will destroy this 10th assembly. God bless you people.
God bless you too. Thank you for calling. Okay.
No, I think that there should be emphasis on the fact that what they are doing in House of Reps, what happened yesterday, yes, we're all looking for state police, but it should have been done properly in line with the process. Because we don't decide something that is fundamental.
Yeah.
Critical to our future.
Why the
by
rush?
vote.
So
the way it is done in
something very important.
Parliamentary practice is that yes, no. So it should be on record that Johansson voted no. White Benga voted yes.
Yes. Not Hayes and...
not Hazy. No, that is wrong.
I mean, as a voter, I need to know how my legislator voted.
But
they're not against it, but why are you rushing it?
But this same issue on how voting process is done, one was raised during the electoral reforms. And the Senate has done nothing about it to correct that. Same with the, in short, the House of Assembly as well, if you put it together. Secondly, the question people are asking is, why the rush ahead of the elections in January? We know we have security issues. There are other ways we can deal with them. But why the rush on state police to be passed before the elections? What's going on?
I believe in things being done in line with the process, must follow the due process. Should be procedural. So that in the future, nobody will question it. But when you are rushing, when you are calling for voice vote, shows that you are hiding something. That is not tidy in my view and should be totally condemned going forward.
Okay, let's still look at the Punch newspaper. On the front page there, employers reject federal government's pension contribution hike. This was a major story yesterday. The federal government said that it has hiked the pension contribution. Initially, there were fears that employees will also contribute to the pension hike. But they came out to make it clear that it's actually the employers that they have to increase the price. It's due for increase. And everybody's complaining now, why now? When things are not, when businesses are still struggling to thrive, and you say we should review the pension hike because of a lot of issues. That's one. Anyway, death toll in Zamfara farmers' attack rises to 23. Zamfara also faced another attack. Tinubu expands army to 12 divisions, approves 28,000 recruits. The police said they had reached their 50,000 recruits. We don't know how conclusive that is, but they said they have. 2003 poll, Obasanjo faults Oshoba, accuses Atiku of impeachment plot. That story still coming back. What's your take on that? At the top, the blue strip up there. That's another story as well. Opposition challenges state police funding plan process. You see, opposition are saying, what's the funding plan? How do they want to go about it? But that's all the story. Any other story you think? Let's talk about the Enugu Air. The Enugu Air.
Yeah. This thing is very critical.
I think the police is the biggest story here. Yeah,
it's the biggest story. And everything should be, all the does and don't should be. If you don't do this thing right, you have problem in implementing it. That's what people are saying. Why are we rushing it? Let's debate it clause by clause, amend it where necessary, and vote accordingly. Not voting by the I say yes and the nays. No. I think that is wrong. That's what people are saying. Because we really want this thing to work, then we need to make sure it is done properly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that it will not be abused by anybody. There will be no funds to implement it. And Nigeria will be sure that these people are working for their interest.
Okay. Let's move to another paper. But let's take this call from Zaria. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Thanks for calling us. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, thank you very much, Tijani from Zaria and Kaduna State. Yes, I want to add my voice on this horrid way in which the House of Representatives want to pass the state police bill or act or what have you. Then the way and manner they did it, Nigerians are not really happy about it. There is nothing wrong. Well, majority of Nigerians want the security issue to be sorted. And if state police is the way forward, fine and good. But why wouldn't they sit down as legislatures to take it clause by clause, where there is mistakes, let them be amended. But when you rush to do this thing, that's why you see issues. The budget, before you add this one, you add that one, you add this one, we continue to have issues as a nation. The budget is not even implemented. That's why I'm so skeptical about this state police stuff. I'm just afraid. Let's not create another behemoth challenge.
That's a good point.
How elections in states are being done. The state electoral commission just go there, choose who they want, and let the state police know. We are being told that all these check and balance will be there, state government will not abuse it. But when the National Assembly...
Thank you
God bless you, Tijani. He raised a very salient point. I mean, we've seen state electoral commissions, Abia State, Lagos State. It's almost like it's a joke.
It's a joke.
The state independent electoral commissions. And that is what we might have to water down police to that level. And then you're giving men arms, the right to bear arms and effect arrest, and you want to rush it. It's not, it's a very serious...
Even in the UK, when it comes to arms, the question again is, are they going to bear arms? That's a question again you might want to look into the state police.
We need to...
Who and who? No, we agree. Don't get me, we agree, but at what level? What kind of arms are they going to bear? You have states, I mean, forget the fact that sometimes it's abuse. In the international community, they will tell you, okay, tasers first. Before the arms.
Would it be standardized?
So what is the standard exactly? Is it going to be tasers first?
Or would it be Lagos...
Before the arms?
Would the way a Lagos
those are part of
state policeman would affect arrest be the same as an employee police?
In the UK, is it going to be baton first? In the UK, before you
need to carry Nigerians along so they know what sorts of law enforcement they will be expecting.
Don't do this in
Benga, please bear with us for the benefit of our viewers so we can sing this in. We have barely just 10 minutes, but one is still 2 minutes out of it. Let's watch the package again so that we can deepen. It seems it's one of the biggest stories on the front page of the newspapers, alongside the President Trump letter. That's another big one on The Guardian. But let's see this package very quickly, and then we'll come back to talk more on it.
I therefore invite the chairman of the Constitutional Review Committee.
9 days after rescinding an earlier vote on the state police bill in early June to adopt an executive bill seeking the establishment of state police services, the executive bill is up for consideration and voting.
You know that over the years, it is our practice that when we pass laws here, they still go through the scrutiny of the executive before the assent of the president is given. But here, the commander-in-chief decided to make it easier for us to partner with us in making sure that what we have labored for, that he gives it the kind of structure that will make it fly easier.
With the bill containing 26 clauses and an explanatory memorandum, it's only required a two-thirds majority to be passed by the House.
We have Honorable Clement Jimbo. We have Honorable Adamu Suleja. If you add the total names, we have 35 names in support. And if you add the total members who have signed our register, totaling 276, plus the 35 members that have shown their direction on the platform of the House, we have a total of 311 members.
Following this, the minority leader raised a point of order but was overruled by the Speaker, which led members of the minority parties to stage a walkout, citing concerns over the provisions of some clauses in the bill.
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
By the question, those in support of this motion say aye, those against say nay. That is it.
They accused the Speaker of disregarding the provisions of the Constitution and denying the House due consideration of the bill.
We as even minority caucus, we are in support of this bill. But there are...
All right. That's just a hint. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll analyze this as soon as possible. Stay with us. Welcome back. We're still taking a look at the front pages, but a quick look into the Kara Bridge accident. You do have the drone footage there. Our correspondents are on ground, and they are giving us a full 360 coverage of what the accident looked like and what it's caused on that bridge. If you're coming towards the axis of Ikeja, or better still, you're also looking at,
From that drone shot, we can see that the accident is on the lane, outbound just after Berger, towards the Ibadan. This is the Kara Bridge. And I mean, it's a complete standstill. There's no movement. And rightly so. We can see men of the Federal Road Safety Corps. We did speak to our correspondent and the sector commander of Lagos State FRSC that gave us an update on the course of this accident and fatalities and what happened earlier. So from what we can see, if you have plans to visit Ibadan or go towards
this weekend,
you might want to just review your plans or take alternative routes. I can imagine the disruption on this axis and the loss of time, business time, the inconvenience to road users. And it also begs the question, what's really going on? From our earlier conversation, Bernard did mention that there's an expansion joint that needs to be fixed on this bridge. It wasn't fixed, and because they feel the repairs will inconvenience commuters. But it's better to just, swallow the pill and fix it once and for all, because it has to do with lives and businesses. And sadly, reports have it that one individual lost his life in this accident.
Very sad story. Very sad story. We'll continue to bring you updates on this, but if you're heading towards this direction, there you have the live footage of what's really happening at Kara Bridge now. You might want to have a rethink or call your family member to find out where they are. Let's wrap things up as we have just 4 minutes to leave the studio. The Guardian newspaper at the top left, Presidency slams the takeover U.S. anti-Tinubu lobbying. And wiki-led PDP reclaims Oyo Secretariat dismisses factional claims, 2027 election, Northeast political blocs backs Tinubu's second term bid, and all of that. But what's your take on one of the biggest stories that's got to do with Trump gave a recommendation or it did not?
If we could also merge it with the lobbying, is all fair and square in war? Is it fair for Atiku to go out and dig dirt on the president and report to, like they say, Principal Mr. Trump? Look at what the president of Nigeria did. And on Nigeria's case, we're celebrating what Mr. Trump has said. Trump has said that we're doing well.
But there's no letter. There's no proof.
We can't even find the proof.
I look at it in two ways.
Okay.
Patriotism and democracy. In terms of being patriotic, I think Atiku was wrong. To have...
It's not politics.
But to go to the U.S. I'm going to the U.S. to try to influence Trump to look in the direction of Nigeria to see if we are doing the right thing or not. You know.
But the government is also sending lobbyists to paint the picture of the government in positive light.
But politically, Atiku has his own right to pursue it the way he wants to, you know. And the government too is saying that they've just received a letter from the U.S. envoy, you know, praising President Bola Tinubu for being proactive and doing the right thing.
From the U.S. president, yes.
Yes, from the U.S. president, President Tinubu. You know, I think it's two ways. The president, people have they done so well in the way they flout that letter. You know, that this is what the U.S. president is saying about Nigeria. I was just wondering why we started to be indulging in that kind of venture. Why is the U.S. playing so much role in our politics? Why do we believe so much in the influence of Donald Trump with this in Nigeria? Why must Trump be the main figure? Why is Atiku rushing to influence Trump?
Is he Lord Lugard?
To look in the direction of Tinubu. And why do Tinubu people find it so easy that this is what Trump is saying about President Tinubu? I think they should just play their politics well. Exactly. Play the politics well. The president should do well. If the president is doing well, the president does not need endorsement of Donald Trump. You know,
the people's endorsement you need.
Yes.
Donald Trump doesn't have PVC.
They should write policies.
Is he voting in Nigeria?
Yes, this should be done properly. Because I bought fuel this morning, 1,280. So I can't be happy, naturally.
I'm not happy, sir.
I can't be happy. So those are the things that the president should address than flaunting the letter written by Donald Trump.
Alleged letter at this point.
Allegedly.
Alleged agency.
The opposition is saying that they should show us the original copy.
Yes, with the president's signature.
And it's a valid ask.
But I think either way, President Tinubu is doing what he should be doing.
Exactly.
The president. But are we satisfied with it? That's another question.
Exactly. And do you need validation?
Okay, guys. Mr. Abibarona, I'd like to say thank you to you as always for coming. Our little sister here will be celebrating her birthday this Sunday. Fortunately or fortunately,
I'm not saying the IV anyway.
We aren't going to be on air, so this is our opportunity to wish our darling Olive Obiageli Emodi of Ogwashku a happy birthday. You're a star, and we really celebrate you. We wish you all the best in life.
Oh, thank you so much.
You deserve all the finest things in life.
Thank you. You're too kind. Thank you.
And I wish you more fulfilling, rewarding, fruitful years ahead.
Amen.
In good health.
A great mind, a legal luminary, and a broadcaster.
Thank you.
Broadcaster.
I'm blushing. I'm blushing so much. And thank you to our audience, our YouTube audience, for all the kind wishes. Thank you all so much. God bless you. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Jasiri comes up next. Bye-bye. Sunshine. Happy birthday to me.